Velenkosini said podcast, the podcast for energy. For energy, podcast for energy. Velenkosini said podcast, ain't gonna be fair, no hold back. Energy, planted the binary basis and wool. Velenkosini gonna show you the way. Podcast for the people, we fly high with energy. Society and the remedy. Velenkosini community, reality. We stick it together as a nation. Velenkosini passion, podcast for fashion. We do it now with the real youth who knows the day. Who wants this?
Welcome, pioneers. This is the third episode. In the house, we've got a special guest, very important person in the building. Well, we are in the space, not in the moon, though, but we're in the space.
I like that.
So yeah, we got Vele in the building. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Welcome, Mr.
Welcome. You still,
Good to be here.
Awe. So you still know me, Tabiso here, Bafetu, Kimalume Tabiso today. Welcome.
Because of the shade.
It's pie in the energy mix. So you can see me, as you can see. Yeah.
Mr. 3.14.
Yeah.
That's a good one. 22%.
Yeah. Make the circle bigger. Yeah.
Last
My
one.
lady.
Hi everyone, my name is Peño, aka the last born.
Yeah. You know.
Hi guys, still Smoother here. Welcome to my YouTube.
Also, it's still your YouTube channel.
Please don't forget to please subscribe.
Please.
To subscribe,
Subscribe.
You must subscribe, you know.
Yeah, please subscribe there.
Yeah, and I'm still here with you guys behind the scenes. It's still the ghosty one. It's not an AKA, by the way.
No.
I'm
Yeah.
Ciao.
The ghost
The
writer.
ghost.
Yeah.
The
Catch
ghost
the
writer.
The ghost writer. Yes, I like that.
Yeah, Vele.
Sure,
Welcome
sure.
to today, man. We thought we should have you in just before there's an event that's happening, I know, in the space of nuclear. So we thought we should just have a sitting with you, just to run through, man. Easy one. I know we didn't give you any preparations or anything to say.
It's a freestyle.
We are just freestyling, man. This is hip hop. Hip hop dog. So yeah. Perhaps maybe like interviews like at work. Tell us about yourself. I know we're not about that, man. So yeah, no, easy
That
ones.
doesn't go there.
I could see you already getting nervous.
Let's not go in.
No.
Tell us about yourself.
Nah. Of course, we read the news, and then we see that there's this event that's happening. So we thought, man, let's just get the Secretary General. The first person, they say
SG.
the SG is the main person. He runs the affairs of any house, whether it's Lituli or whether it's any other house.
It's still the main man.
He's the main man. You know what I'm saying? There's no organization that's functional without the SG. Please, guys, you know that. That's how important the SG is. So that's why we have you here. And perhaps maybe you can just give us a broad understanding or just a brief as to what is the organization that you represent. They call it SANEPS. Is it? Is it the other one?
Yeah, no.
Is the
Thanks.
other- Yeah.
I'm all over, ne? So I'm SG in the regional one, AYGN. It's an African Young Generation in Youth, the organization. But SANEPS is local. It's a chapter of the AYGN. I'm
Oh,
not the SG,
okay.
but I'm an NEC member representing the DMRE in the SANEPS Executive Committee.
Okay.
Yeah, I can tell you into details about the summit and the plans,
Yeah.
the theme, why we went for the theme.
Mhm.
Yeah, so guide me.
I know.
SANEPS or
No,
AYGN.
tell us anything. That's why I say I wasn't sure which one is which one. Now he's telling us, giving us a clear indication. There's SANEPS and then there's AYGN.
Yeah.
And then in the AYGN, you are the executive.
I'm
and
the
then
SG.
SG.
In
Oh.
this case, in this side, I'm executive member.
Okay. So you see, guys, how important we're not just rolling with rolling with DRTs. I'll be
It's original
be,
SG.
Yeah. You must tell when you need a what do you call a bodyguard, you know.
Big
Oh yeah,
guns.
yeah,
Ah,
sure.
you see,
sure.
I'm still.
Soon I'll need one.
it's- it's-
Prepare yourself, focused. You must go to Cairo.
yeah, man, yeah. So okay, just on the two, just tell us on the two organizations what they are and what the objectives are
Okay.
generally.
Basically, it's a. I would put it as a more like an NGO kind. They are non-profit organization, both of them.
Yeah.
Mainly is to drive their agenda in promoting nuclear in the African region, South Africa in particular, when with CNEPs. Just for the masses, the young people, those that are going through school, professionals to understand there's nuclear, what comes with nuclear technology, nuclear science, what careers are there, what typical work one goes to day, and then let the public know that there's benefit and what are the adverse of nuclear, what has happened in the past, what is the future like in Africa, how can young people take a center stage. Mainly we are a young generation, be it synapse or AYG, yeah, promoting young people to take careers in nuclear leadership positions wherever they are, and lead by examples. So yeah, that's in a nutshell.
Yeah.
But we want to be seen,
Yeah.
we want to be visible, we want to be heard globally, not just regionally. Yeah, we promote that if you are in your space, like we did here right now.
Sure.
Talk about what is happening in your space, what do you do on day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
Either you are making policy, you are a regulator, you are a scientist, let it be known, yeah, so that you don't hide under the shells.
Sure,
Basically, that's what it is.
Oh,
Even
this is
with the
great,
upcoming events, we want to profile young people so that whoever is there can see that there's young people who actually cares about what's happening, and they wish to have more nuclear in the country so that we can see more of the same.
Wow, this is profound, man. I must say, you know, there's a lot that's happening, and I think it's important that people are able to see what we're doing in the nuclear space. You know what
True,
I'm saying?
true.
Spuda, you wanna maybe also?
No, I think for one, it's specifically understanding the two organizations and the distinction in terms of now in the nuclear space itself. What's the recognition of CNEPS and the AYG, and in terms of they are not professional bodies, so they are more like advocacy groups. Can I make that distinction?
So the question is, are they what are they mostly aligned with? Are they advocacy or promotion? Is that what you ask?
Yeah, in a nutshell, they're just because they are one as non-profit organizations for the nuclear industry now. Just the recognition within the nuclear industry now.
Yeah.
If you tell someone say NEPS, you know that as someone in the nuclear space, you can take pride in that organization. You know this organization, it works for the industry. You know. So I think in essence, that's what I'm trying to to get there.
Yeah, thanks, man. We both fit in professional organizations and advocacy, but we are more strong on advocacy. Remember, we are professionals in our own right. We form a unit as young professionals, young generation in nuclear. So we have constitutions in place and guiding what needs to be done. We have aligned. I'll start locally before I move to regional, because the regional one was only established around 2015 or so. But CNEPS in particular, South African Young Nuclear Professional Society, let's say it in full,
Yes.
was founded back in 2002 by young professionals in the industry who felt we need to have a body where we meet and share ideas and propel the way forward on how to maneuver the space. And then there was a recognition by government, which by then was DME,
DME, I think. Yeah.
Minerals
DME.
and Energy, together with NEXA, ESCOM, NNR, Itemba Labs. They signed a pledge to support initiatives of SYNAPS. SYNAPS stands for young people.
It's for the youth.
Yeah, for the guys who are doing.
What's the age limit there? Because
Yeah.
I don't know whether I'm still youth, but okay. Yeah.
Well, according to our constitution, once you are above 40, you become an associate. That's why we say, if you look at how we craft it, we're not saying youth, we say young. Because the South African recognition of youth is 35.
Yeah.
So with young,
you must also say at heart.
So with when you are 40 and above, we become an associate. You always give guidance because you have experience. You are senior in wherever you are. You've been there. You journeyed. But synapse, in a nutshell, is well recognized within the nuclear industry. Like I said, there's a pledge that was signed by all parties involved to say we always support the initiatives of synapse. We don't have a proper revenue generation setup. We solely depend on donations and sponsorship. For example, as we plan our upcoming summit, we had to write to our partners to say, like, look, we want to call upon young people in one area to come and talk about what's happening in the space, how we are being missed when we look at the news and the policy direction that is being undertaken in our country. So we need also to be heard. So support us and come and tell us what is the role of nuclear in the future of decarbonizing our energy space. Do we see nuclear playing a major impact? Yes, we want that, because from what we see, we see new prescriptive regulations and guiding documents seems to be silent on the recognition of nuclear. Yet we say we are for an energy mix and nuclear will play a part. But is it being just the current existing operations only, or is there upcoming ones that are seen as clean and green? Who defines green and who says nuclear is not green?
Is it Oxford Dictionary or what?
Yeah, true. Is it
That's why I want them to say pie in the energy mix somewhere there.
So you want pie to be a recognized energy source.
Yeah, it's like Bootylicious. But it's also, it must be in their dictionary. Penyo, what's your view?
Can I just before
sorry.
Penyo goes, I think Mr. Mjadi, you touched on a very important point with regards to closing the gap between what's regarded as a youth and particularly somebody who's seasoned within the industry. I think you mentioned the use of the word associate. So my question is, in terms of making sure that there's proper handover of the industry, as it were, what are the vehicles that are available, especially for the youth, in terms of mentorship, looking at the position of your organization in this regard, and how do you facilitate that seamless sort of takeover of the industry, if I may put it like that? Because I mean, at some point the skills are going to retire, and we've seen a mass skills exodus because of other opportunities out there somewhere. Sure. Your body is very important in terms of ensuring that there's actually something that the industry can, or a pool that an industry can actually go and source skills from, in terms of the young people that we're producing. So what role do you play in that regard?
In essence, do you have a swimming pool for?
I like that. I like that.
There's a challenge here. We all love what we stand for, but the actual practice becomes difficult because as members, as we in a society, we belong to organizations. We would love to dictate to organizations as to they must have plans as to skills transfer, but you get to preach this idea and they will tell you there are plans, but from a perspective of a young professional in the space and someone who's a leader in the organization, we find it difficult to see changeability of that from within organizations. And why at one point during COVID, I think it was 2020, we once had a webinar where we just call industry principals or captains to come and give us update what's happening. At one point, ESCOM presented a very good slide where they show the age gaps and how they're feeling that up so that there's a seamless transition from a seasoned engineer to an operator who just came in. From my perspective, from my organization now, DMRA, I think we are doing a lot. I joined, Tabiso touched on something earlier on when I landed in Joe's and all of that, but we'll get back to it later.
Yeah, I meant, I was reflecting on me. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
yeah. So you get to be pushed into these committees that actually make things happen, and you do a lot and you learn a lot. It's upon one now when you are there. Do you want to swim or do you want to sink? Yeah. So
It's a lot of sharks.
I think now you take it back to the organization now, SANEPS, to say, look, from my perspective, from DMRE, I'm well versed with the issues, and I'm hands-on. I'm even given some what you call confidential tasks, but I won't divulge what I'm doing. But I'm trying to give a picture that as we do our day-to-day, we are more involved in terms of the future of nuclear industry in the country. And now it's upon us as young professionals to go back to those that are not involved, to those that are still wanting to join the industry, to give them a leeway so that when they come, the field is already flat for them.
It's very key, and I think what you said, it's almost like taking responsibility whilst you are still young, because it's almost like there's a principle of saying taking care of the future generations.
True.
So whilst you are still in the young phase, you're also bringing in the next pool to say, taking on the reins to the next one.
Yeah.
And I
well
think
put.
it's perfect. It's very much perfect. Miss P, what's your take?
The last born.
Yeah.
No, I'm just taking everything in, but I just wanted to also just find out. Tuhan just mentioned something that is quite intriguing to me in terms of mentorship. I'd like to know, are there any initiatives, because considering the fact that your mandate is around bridging the gap or just educating the youth about this nuclear space, so I just wanted to know, are there any sort of like practical mentorship programs that you are putting in place? For instance, like this idea of, maybe let's say, at kindergarten they say bring a child to work, but in this instance you can say just bring a scientist or an upcoming scientist or a youth child to work, and actually just have them literally see the kind of work that you actually engage in and the different aspects that they can easily be exposed to. Because as much as, yes, you can give them the information on paper or on presentations or in some whatever engagement, but having them being in that space and actually taking it in and seeing what it is that goes into the daily work of a nuclear scientist in different aspects, it would really be helpful. Because it was one of the things that myself as a last born,
Yeah.
I lacked that aspect. So for me, I tend to just wonder what are the steps or what are the ideas into bringing that into life. So I just wanted to know if you have some sort of a mentorship program that could be initiated, because it would really be helpful in a more practical sense.
True. That was a very mouthful one. Yeah. we forever, even if you go to our objectives as a society, what we stand for, one of the key pillars is mentorship. We need to guide and bring into life to those that are young as to what it's like to be a nuclear professional. Yeah, be it you are crafting policies, be it you are a scientist at the lab, be it you are an operator at Safari or Quebec. But what it takes on day to day. One of the challenges we encountered is having such a program, because it's more of we are volunteering our time to do actual work in science.
Selfless.
Yeah, it becomes difficult to get everyone mindset in that. And actually even getting the young people that you want to introduce to get them, it's a challenge because there have to be monetary values now that are added in which we might not have those monies to get them into space, having prepared them.
It's unlike buying votes.
Yeah, the one that has been working for us is to have initiatives like your in the previous COVID times. It's webinars where you call upon those leading industry to come and talk. So they draw your attention as to why am I studying physics, BSc physics and chemistry? Why am I doing honors in nuclear science? Why am I even doing this masters? Because now you're seeing a future. If a minister or a director general comes and say, look, we've got an IRP, and IRP says we need to install 2,500 by this time, and this is the groundwork that we have done to develop capability, and you start seeing now that there's future in the industry. But to actually take one to like you put it, an existing initiative of taking a girl child to work. In this case, it has proved to be difficult for us. So we shied away from continuing with such, but rather try to get them, young people, especially particular those that are in universities, to be involved when we have initiatives like summits, where we call all nuclear young professionals to come in the fore, and then they will be presenting their work. We also ask them, the students, to present their research papers, abstract, to say that we understand and guide as to perhaps I'm with Tabiso here. Tabiso has done medical physics. I'm doing a research paper on around that, or I'm an MSc student. You see, when I'm sitting there, he will tell me, 15 years ago, we were having the same problem. I'll just guide you to say maybe shy away from doing 1, 2, 3, because it didn't help us even till today. As we are in the industry, it has not helped us. So it's such things that we have in place at the moment we have control of. The others that we don't have, we try to seek assistance from our mother companies to say, look, try to have these initiatives. I know Nexa does a lot with having scientists coming in to do their experiments and all of that, so which they get exposed. DMRE, I think they've recently launched the Women in Nuclear DMRE's chapter. Recently launched what do you call it, Boys and Girls Club. Learners now. They went to Mafikeng and get young people there, so that they start thinking about nuclear and the issues that we have in the country. How can we now come up with solutions as while they're still young? You don't wait until they are mature. You start now at a very tender age, so that you start putting that thinking along to say, look, we have challenges in South Africa. We need solutions, and we need innovative ideas. Be it energy, be it the lack of water, drought issues,
Desalination.
I think I'll leave it there.
I think now that you're saying it, it's almost like we need AMA 2000 to come on board.
Definitely. But we have the last born, so
She's
representing,
representing, you know. AMA 2000, AMA piano.
Guys,
Must go and recruit. Put a
working,
beverage
yeah.
on you.
But just to come in there, especially on affiliate members of SENEPS, as in the organization representatives. As a member of SENEPS, I'm aware that there's also institutions of higher learning that are actually, in fact, represented. So, as opposed to, or in addition to the professional organizations, we have also institutions of higher learning. So I think it just amplifies that point that co-opting
most
students,
definitely,
co-opting
easier.
students to be part of. I mean, most of them, in any case, the aspirations is to be in the nuclear industry. So the molding and shaping, and also the sharing of information now, because it's very important to, as someone who's within the industry, to communicate. Because especially for such an industry, it's very difficult for someone who's outside the industry to know what's what.
The ins and out, yeah.
Yeah, you see. So I think such initiatives, especially having students being part of the summit and everything, they are
Much easier.
very
Look,
welcome,
if you attended one of our summits, your next interview are in.
yeah.
I
Talking
know,
from
then you
someone
heard it, guys. You're in. The next interview.
Come through.
talking from someone who's been into one
So
of
sign
the
up is the
summits.
plug.
So
Yeah, no, it's the plug.
I mean, I've attended one of the summits, very informative, on a broader sense.
Sure.
So I actually found it useful.
Are we crashing? We're getting there.
know.
You must count it. You must count us in. We like being in the list. So,
You're not in the list. We are telling you already. Make space for us.
yeah, load shedding or no load shedding.
Yes, we are there.
Yeah. Let's hope.
Any future plans for Synapse? Are there any future plans in terms of what your sort of vision in terms of the near future vision? I know mine is too bright.
Short-term goal, long-term goal.
That's the fact.
Well, look, I think I will align it with the theme for this year's summit. We are transitioning from carbon intensity technologies to low.
Sure.
As we decarbonize our energy system, we think nuclear should play a role, and we know the benefits on nuclear when it comes to climate change.
Yeah.
So, I'm trying to align with your question in terms of goals. We would much like the government to make decisions on the implementation of the RP, particularly 2,500 megawatt program. We are happy ESCOM is extending the lifespan of Quebec. Hopefully all goes well with the regulator having to give a decision come 2024. We know Neradi, they want to have a central interim storage facility soon, which the department has committed by 2024. We also know NEXA intends to replace Safari with an MPR, and the department is leading on that as well. They've committed 2024. So our goals are aligned with the industry goals.
Okay.
Yeah. If the boom of the industry, that's the boom of young people.
Yeah.
But right now, we are concerned. Hence, we derive our theme to the just energy transition and the role of nuclear youth transitioning with the energy space. To say, with all that is being said and what we hear, but there's little that is said about nuclear. So it shouldn't we shouldn't just leave it from what we hear. But let's get to the bottom of it as young people, call on those that are guiding policy to say, come tell us, what do you see nuclear's role in does nuclear in the net zero 2050, do you see nuclear playing a key role? Let's not look at global issues, let's look at South African context. Do we see more power plants coming in to complement what Quebec is doing? Because from where we're standing, Quebec is a crown jewel.
Crown jewel, yeah. It's the cash cow.
Yes, of
Something
ESCOM,
like that,
the most reliable
electricity
unit
cow.
within the fleet.
Yeah.
If we can have more plants that can operate a unit for 400 days without interruption, so why can't we invest more on that? We know the dynamics of the financial issues, constraint of the fiscals and ESCOM, and we understand that, but we feel we should be brought into the table to say, look, let's have Indaba on nuclear and its role in the future, and cultivating on a roadmap as to say, how do we overcome the constraints that we have as a country, but yet we advance nuclear.
Definitely. I think it aligns perfectly, especially with the challenges currently we are having in the country. That actually your vision talks to those challenges and how we can resolve on those challenges. It may not be a tomorrow thing, but
long term.
they say it doesn't take 3 days to build Rome. Or what does it say? Even Mukuku, you can't build
Was
it
it
in.
built overnight?
Don't
Oh
lie.
yeah. No, what I know is Mukuku in a day.
Yes,
You can
because
Half a
Because
day you are
recently
done.
built one.
Half a day you are done.
Yeah, the overnight cost of that thing. You can do it very big. In terms of-
Yeah, look,
But-
I
oh,
think,
sorry.
if I may just come in, I think Mr. Mjari is making very valid points in terms of what we need to start seeing on a practical basis, in terms of how the youth can actually, be introduced into these programs to solve issues of the future. But starting now, currently, with the one that we all know is an elephant in the room. But let me just ask you, SG, because I gather you answered that question on the basis of Synapse as an organization. But what is your view in terms of, if with all things equal, if you were to be given the money, if you were to have the government backing, I see you are dreading the question that comes next, but that's why you are the leader.
If you are given the cookie
I
jar,
just want to pick your brain in terms of, where where the kinks, where can we start to fix the problem? Not necessarily the ones that would need finance per se or financial backing, but with all things equal, if you had the finance now, what would be your strategy in making sure that?
Are we talking about fixing the power outages
No,
in
no,
the
not that.
country?
that
Are we
that,
talking
that is a
about
bit
nuclear
difficult.
industry?
I'm talking about closing the gap and making sure that your organization is seen as a vehicle that is
Okay.
visible enough, for the youth to take this thing, to take the responsibility and actually fix the industry as it were.
I think, I think I get you.
Yeah.
Well, for now, let me put it this way from a perspective of young professionals like myself. I think before we even get the money, let's start to get involved as young people. Wherever you are, get involved. You realize that the benefit of such, you get recognition, not purely because someone thinks you are their friend, but because they see the energy that you possess. When you are given a task, you take time and you enjoy what you are doing, and you do it with love. Even sometimes when you're not loving what you are doing, but because at the end of the day, your name is attached to that project or that
you are
task.
just a lover.
Yes. So the moment we embody such, when it comes to whatever that we do, particularly now talking about work, we then send an alarm to anyone who's looking from a distance that actually there are young people in the nuclear industry, and they seem to care of what is happening. Yeah. Because we cannot just jump to be given money. Yes, if government today was to say, look, the what do you call it? The check is healthy. What do you say, Minister? What do you say, DDG? Do you want that 2.5? Definitely. We know what will come with that. Looking at the unemployment rate, thank God it came down, even if it was 0.2, but still.
Still up.
Looking at the unemployment rate and the young people that need that skill, there are things that we talk of in South Africa, infrastructure. Well, go and patching up potholes. We understand government has to do something at the end of the day, but that's not what we want. We want to build stadiums like we did going into World Cup. Let's have major infrastructure. A nuclear power plant alone will give that, and will give a skill to a semi-skilled and unskilled person. Construction work, post that period, they can then get elsewhere, they get work. So we need to, I like the question because you need to draw the relevance of young people in this case and Synapse to say, when you look at this new nuclear build and all these projects that are envisaged, what roles do you see that will represent young people? Because it's not about switching on the lights, and it's not all about caring for the guys who went to school. Not all of us went to school. South Africa is a very diverse country, and you will know the issues. So you have to cater for all, and it might not be nuclear, but an infrastructure project that can be able to consume up to 2,000 to 3,000 construction workers, and within a period of 18 to 36 months that someone is working. You know, when you change a home,
Yeah.
the guy comes in a family of 4, and now there's bread for 18 months. So it then comes back to issues that we are facing. But at the end of the day, from a perspective now of a young professional in nuclear, sure, we need nuclear. we need nuclear. We need solutions. We need, and it's like you said, it's long-term planning, because we not, even if we're to get money today, it's not like tomorrow or in the next 2 years we'll have a plant commissioned. Let's push renewables for now, to cover the shortfalls that we have, because we can plug them in a short space of time.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it reminds me of that show, PMS.
Yeah,
It's all about the man.
Shout out to David Cow.
Shout out to Homie.
Yeah, I wanted to come in, and I think Jadwe has made a very point in terms of the role of nuclear, you know. But now, since we are talking about CNEPS as a body for young people, um, from where I'm sitting, I always, when I talk to people, I always say that I don't see youth in the just energy transition debate. I don't see, especially nuclear professional youth, talking about the dynamics of the just energy transition. And that specifically links to what we mentioned earlier about the net zero goal of 2050, you know, because the decisions that they are taken now, they affect the outlook for the future, you know. And also now, in that same spirit, uh, considering the sustainability of the industry itself, because uh, the sentiments also in terms of do we see the need for nuclear in our just energy transition, not even at the global level now, at our national level, you know. What is the debate there? What are the sentiments there, you know? I'm not sure if Vele can comment to see in terms of the involvement of CNEPS, or CNEPS has ever facilitated such communication in terms of getting the youth involved, hearing their ideas in terms of you know, especially also considering that bulk of the work CNEPS does is it's on advocacy, you know. There's a lot of lobbying in terms of the just energy transition. You know, there's a lot of lobbying there, competing energy sources, you know, which is, well, it's not something that you can discuss today, but you know, there is a strong lobbying in that sense. So we do need active youth there, you know, having a voice in terms of when they take these decisions, you know, when we craft the policy of clean energy in South Africa, you know, what is the role of nuclear there? You know, I'm not sure if you can comment on that. In general, in terms of CNEP's
get you.
perspective.
You know, I had a chance to follow there's a Presidential Climate Commission. Yeah, it's called PCC. They had these stakeholder engagements where they talk about the transition as to the future of South Africa, the new opportunities and industry that will be born out of this transition, because there's that notion that we still backward the way we see the future, and the future is changing. Yeah, one of the things that when you follow those discussions, you as a nuclear now person, you get not to be involved, but to follow discussions, because it's more inclined to the areas that will be impacted by closure of coal and all of that. and then what are the new opportunities that might arise from like the likes of hydrogen and all the solar panels, manufacturing, renewables in general. And there are many dynamics. But now bringing back to nuclear, have we had those discussions? I think we were caught up by the debate around the country, and it was a topical issue at some point, post Scotland COP26 going to COP27. We would have loved to have our summit before COP27, because South Africa was going to commit produce investment plan. They've also cabinet approved the transition framework, just transition framework, as to how this transition will be guided, and majority of the investment in that will be focused on energy. But we know with constraints and all, we could not have a summit as early as that. But we felt having this summit, we still need to debate the transition, particularly on energy and the role of nuclear. Because as we hear discussion from government and those that are leading, we felt there's that gap. We don't see ourselves. Someone says, but it's energy, it encompasses all. But yeah, you are specific when you talk of this technology, but you are not specific on the other. So come and tell us, let's have this fora where you see now in a plenary session, young professionals sitting, listening for you, so that you don't forget the constituency that is represented in the nuclear space. And we took it upon us as young professionals that, look, we need to have this summit where the focus is on just energy transition. We call it in short JET.
Yeah.
Where those that are guiding policy must tell us that are we in a space where nuclear can be defined in the context of South Africa as clean and green? Our plans are aligned when we talk of the concessional loans that have been given to South Africa, the pledges. Are those only limited to particular technologies? Does it include nuclear? Can we do development work around nuclear with those monies? What is the situation? So it's a first step of many to come. Sure. Yeah, we also need to unlock that. Once we have that, then we will define the roadmap now, coming from this summit, as SANEPS, to say, look, these are the issues that we need to focus on. Let's have data engagement, and with now, it could be just us as young professionals in the industry, as to how do we then influence the next discussions, because the most important thing from a young professional perspective, there's consultations documents that are issued every now and then, where it talks of energy planning. We believe SANEPS must always have a say on that. Not so long ago, there was a hearing on the Section 34 determination. We were there. We made a presentation as to what the value of nuclear is. Back in 2016, 17, we even went as far as to go and present in Parliament as to what is the value of nuclear, and having a South Africa not pursuing more nuclear, what it means to young professionals. So we need to influence policy, and to influence policy, you need to be alive to the discussions, and you need to have a forum where you discuss these things when given an opportunity to comment, not individually, so as a society, submit your inputs.
Vele, I think you've
giving us like the best window of the window of information. You got power.
I want you
I
to
got
come
the
to the
power.
summit.
Yeah, no, we are coming through. We are
Coming
landing.
through.
Yeah, we will be there.
It's good that we're having these conversations, and there are people also that are going to be benefiting from it that are not necessarily within the nuclear space. And, I think it's one of the well, it's the first interview so far that we've conducted.
I'm the first.
Yeah.
Oh, guys,
You've
you
set
should
the
have
bar
prepared
very
me.
high.
Yeah.
But you did
Yeah.
so well.
First of all, who's your favorite scientist?
Who's your
I think-
favorite scientist?
We should actually have that.
Who's your
Old
main guy?
school, Yeah,
Yeah.
who's your main guy?
Yeah.
We asking this because in the last episode we had somewhat of a competition. That's Buddha won,
Yeah.
hands down.
Yeah.
Because we were profiling.
Props.
I think it was 5 each.
Five.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a list of
scientists
5.
based on the popularity.
Yeah.
How they had impact in terms of the development of the world as is.
Discoveries.
And really, the longevity of the discoveries.
Yeah.
So Buddha was able to put up a very
Yeah,
nice
no,
fight.
he did.
But Penyo had people that we didn't even know
Penyo, I still think.
existed.
Yeah.
The
So-
underdog.
That you need to know about.
Kamis is always losing,
That
so
you
that's
need-
fine.
Yeah, no,
Who's
it's-
always losing?
One day is one day.
What did you win so far? What did you win so far? The odds are always against you. but just to bring it back to you, Mr. Mchad, every one of us have somebody that we look up to in one way or another that will contribute in shaping the person we become as career people. So we based it on scientists in the past. And who won, Kan? Who was your scientist? Who was the main guy?
There's
Is it
Albert.
Mr.
The top dog was
Albert.
Who
answered.
was it?
Albert
Obviously, but
No, but I had
Who had
Albert
three?
Einstein.
Yeah.
yes,
I
when you had a good list,
Louis Pasteur.
Yeah.
Yes.
I had Rosalind
Rosalind
Franklin.
Franklin.
Yes, you had
So
very
I
good
had
people
3 out
on
of
that
5.
list,
So,
Yeah.
So
Guys,
basically,
nothing,
who's
Yeah.
your main guy? If you were to just to wake up and answer a question like that as a scientist, who's your main guy? So that we can argue with you on the basis of what we know
Yeah.
so far.
Because we went through that.
Yeah, no, I don't have the main guy,
Yeah.
but I've got a couple, that had influence because as you generally, when you in high school, they tell you because you seem to be strong on 1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
maybe you should take this route.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you get to exposed to Newton's law.
Yeah.
And you think of
Yeah,
gravitational force.
That's my guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a guy. How can you come up with that? You look at theory, you see an apple falling from the tree, and then you start.
But there's an
calculating.
easy answer to that.
Yeah,
You know what we call that?
Mm.
We call that divine intervention.
Wow.
you are right.
Yeah.
No, you are right. You know,
Yeah.
certain
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
you need to be
They
gifted.
need
on.
inspiration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So that's your main guy.
No, as I generally continue with reading and all, then I was introduced to Einstein's work.
Yeah.
And then with the field that I'm in, you spend a lot of time on E is equal to MC
Yeah,
squared.
you have to appreciate that.
Yeah,
You have to
eventually Einstein.
Yeah, it became your guy.
Yeah.
Big guy.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you.
So I've got a question. Of the honeys in the industry.
The who?
The what?
What I mean, the industry. I mean.
Honeys now?
Wait,
It's fine,
wait,
it's fine.
wait,
It's fine,
wait.
it's fine. Let
Wait,
him
wait.
complete.
So, of the honeys in the music industry, who would you want to be energy influencer, particularly on nuclear?
Yes, I like that. I like that.
Who do you want us to go to and ask, hey man, come and be an
Hey, Hannes in the
influencer?"
industry.
Yeah.
No, don't limit it to the industry. It can be anyone.
Oh,
But
yeah.
he's understanding you to say within the industry must pick a honey that
Yeah,
can be an
yeah, yeah.
influencer.
No. Oh, okay. I'm not sure where you're going, but I
taking your
was
tangent.
ready.
It can be anyone.
You
It
guys-
can be any influence.
All right,
Yeah.
all right.
Oh, my interpretation, once you say influence,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I started, at first okay, I'm into music, so I started
Yeah.
thinking around the hip hop.
Pelamina, I was gonna tell you, but maybe let me not tell
I
you.
started around thinking around the hip hop.
Yeah.
Then I fell short.
But who's that one, man?
Why?
Vele, the one who's dancing? Well, the DJ. That one.
Uncle Waffles.
Hey, Uncle
I-
Waffles. Uncle Waffles.
So I fell short on who can I pick. I think I've been disconnected for some time now. So so I fell short.
So you don't know.
I can't
Even
No,
Beyonce.
no, no. I like Mr. Mjadi's answer.
He's very diplomatic.
Not that he doesn't know. There's a couple of questions
Yeah,
he has
no.
to answer somewhere else. In another forum.
Okay, tell me.
When we are not
Tell me. Tell
Because
me.
remember, his answer will be immortalized. So somebody
It will be
have
put on a.
referenced,
Always.
They will
This
put
is
it
where
on
you come
a.
from.
They will frame your answer.
No, I don't believe you. I like
Every
your
day.
answer. I like your answer.
Every day.
Eh?
I like
You know, I don't. Any other question, guys?
I have a question actually. So for it's probably for the masses, I think. Tell us what it is which subjects did you take in high school? Which university you went to? Which course did you opt for to land you where you are right now?
Okay, this is a very funny one because I didn't see myself as someone who would be working in the nuclear space. Yeah, but I got to be at school during the times of higher grade. Yeah, I did
I wanted to change
maths and science, physical sciences and mathematics. Yeah. I think the defining stream was always mathematics and physical science.
Yeah.
Yeah, from there, I went to University of Zululand. I studied BSc Physics and Electronics. I was majoring with physics and electronics, and I got to love the electronic engineering aspect of the course. Yeah, I saw myself being in that space. Yeah, and when I was coming up, my career path seemed to have taken that space. I spent a lot of time in even engaging those that were potential. But eventually, I saw something talking of nuclear physics.
Yeah.
Physics. Someone is offering physics. Okay. At first, I thought I would work. When as a kid, you spend a lot of time looking at what is happening, or Ericsson and others, because I'm an electronic guy, man.
Yeah.
That's the itch. That's what I
Wanted to fix the phones.
Yeah, like I wanted to make these phones.
The
Like,
old radio.
To compete
To take them
yeah,
apart.
with the Pakistan.
you have to
He
understand
wants to
this.
take over the business.
FM, you assembly, you create these things, you do a lot of experiments, then you tend to love these things. But then I as generally towards my end of schooling, I wanted to work for CSIR. I thought, being in physics and science, you need to work. You must every day. The language must be. But life happened. I find myself in Pretoria. Then okay, now I have to prepare interview questions for nuclear. I've always been preparing interviews for electronics to understand the telecommunication aspect as to eventually I'm here, and I was introduced to nuclear. They told me, you can go and study somewhere. They've got good courses on nuclear engineering so that you equip your understanding. Eventually.
An interesting journey
But
indeed.
nuclear wasn't a part of my
Yeah, it just happened. Yeah, it's like any relationship, it happens.
Yeah, and you know that one that just happened. Hey.
Yeah.
Come
It's a blessing.
That's Kenya as well.
Yeah, you come here, I'm playing, and then
Ah,
you
yeah, no,
realize
this is the one.
there's a heart open. Chasing our Beyonce.
There's no such.
Oh, I like that.
Put a question.
Not, not exactly a question per se, but I would be more interested on the, especially as you are saying that the nuclear industry was not your first go-to. Yes, we are understanding one in terms of interest, but in terms of now exposure to especially our South African nuclear industry. Back then, especially at university, uh, were you aware in terms of the industry itself? Were you exposed to any communication done by the industry at the tertiary level, or maybe any conference you had attended, any physics conferences? Because what I found interesting is you find a lot of students doing the sciences, but they don't even know that we have a power reactor in the country. You know, they don't even know that we have a research reactor in the country. So a lot of times also it's an issue of not knowing that the industry is alive. You know, there's a full industry. I mean, if you have a research reactor, you have a power reactor. You know, there's an industry. There's an industry. Let alone the other smaller industries, nuclear industries. But to have a power reactor in the country, and you find students in the sciences not being aware that it also influences, because you find people they never even think about that you can actually be in the nuclear industry.
You know, funny thing of what you're asking, I always go back to in solid state physics during that year, we had a project on energy sources. Yeah, we had to do a research paper per student and then make presentations on that. Then you start reading about nuclear energy and how nuclear energy produces electricity and all of that. So you come across that, but you really not paying attention as to what's happening in the country. I think the focus, because as a student, you're not focusing as to there's infrastructure, but how electricity is eventually produced from nuclear. You go hydro, you go coal and all of that, gas and then when you do nuclear physics, now you're introduced in that year a module called nuclear physics. It doesn't talk about the practical things. You just the theory. You don't even talk about. There's even something called a research reactor or a nuclear power reactor.
It's almost like phase failure.
Yeah, you talk of nucleons. You talk of atoms. You gamma rays, alpha. How do you block alpha? Beta, which one is penetrating? Like earlier when we talked of lead, you start, lead, actually blocks gamma, which is good. You do those, you do all this experimentation. I remember even flopping on my first interview on nuclear issues because I didn't really grasp what one can do as a nuclear person. So the questions the question that confused me, I just went back to the experiment we did at university on nuclear physics. Then I tried to explain the scenario around that because I didn't have knowledge of what's happening. I actually came across the industry when I was preparing to understand, there's no Nexa. Nexa does this and that and that. Oh, South Africa once made nuclear weapons and all of those things. Okay. It's a whole new world for me. But being exposed to, I think even my peers then, only the guys maybe who were already at postgraduate level, based in, because we had the university had a partnership with UWC, so the guys who were based in at Cape Town, maybe they were. But us, and again, the concentration geographically, nuclear is dominant in Northwest in terms of teaching nuclear science and at postgrad level as well. And then maybe mainly because of Nexa, and then the PBMR project that was then also in Cape Town too because of Quebec, and there were programs back in days at VES. So in KZN, I think the whole campuses or universities there, they didn't have anything on that. So you can only get exposed when you do medical physics. Maybe Nakon. But at university, I was even in the leadership in my faculty, we used to call physics and engineering department. We mainly because the School of Physics there was focused on electronics, material science. So the core aspect that made the department, apart from physics, was the engineering aspect, and so we do spend a lot of times in labs doing a lot of drawings, doing a lot of programming in digital space. So nuclear, that like I said, I was not exposed to. I was more of a electronic guy because of the background.
It's like being a parents member at a supposed to be a parent.
That's very controversial.
I know. All right. Vele, thanks a lot for today's episode. I think it was super fun. This was, by the way, our first interview for the podcast.
Actually, I learned a lot.
It was a brilliant
While
one.
talking.
It was. And I must say, it was, exceptional.
Yeah, you guys ambush me.
No. We easy.
You know how fun it is. You spend a lot of times. You do a lot of submissions. Briefing on these things. And then someone come and ask you about like,
hey man, what are you doing?
I must explain.
In layman's.
So it was fun. I really enjoyed it.
Thanks.
Well, thank you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Today's episode, we discussed the energy topics being advocated for. And in today's episode, we spoke about the subject of the energy mix and how these energy discussions are held in various platforms, especially in the youth space, how the youth can be introduced and how the youth can get to know about the subject of nuclear. And I think it's very important that we introduce the subject of nuclear right from the beginning at an early age. And the reason why I'm having classes today is because I know the future of the youth, especially my 2000s out there, is brighter than me.
Yeah, last
you know,
born.
it's the last borns. You know, that's where the future is. You know, so we in support of that, and we have Vele here. Yeah, we've got Vele here to really take us through the synapse, South African Young Nuclear Professional Society. So thank you very much, guys, and thanks for tuning in. Till the next episode. We are
Synapse.
Synapse.
Say energy ain't gonna be bad. Doing the most, winning runs for the nation. I'ma show what I have. Ain't gonna be fair. I be doing this, don't take me. Sacrificing for the money daily. Someone get energy, vulnerable to the technology. Society, public, I want you to learn that this energy ain't gonna be fair. Gonna be killing your energy. Podcast, hella kiss, yeah, how's on this hella kiss? Energy, vacation, everywhere, townhouses, technology, electricity.